in St. Petersburg. Imagine this. I would never had studied philosophy. Pretty sure. So then this is dedicated to you, dear friend, in heaven, Bulgakov. Let me start with a very, very powerful, influential philosophical work about love in a very comprehensive sense. Plato's Symposion. But first of all, I should give you some observations, some philosophical observations, appealing to what all of you know yourself about the meaning of love in life in general, why it is so important, and why we can be completely wrong about this wonderful phenomenon. So what I now do is what we call in the UK an argument by reminder. That's actually my own philosophical or my own conviction as a scientist, that all we teachers do is to remind you of things that you already know. So I don't know much about biology. No, I don't know anything more than you. But what I can do is to make explicit what you might know tacitly, right? It is a tacit knowledge about different things like love or democracy or justice, wonderful topics, but we can make it explicit, transform it into a theory, you see? And unfold the logical structure that is hidden underneath the surface of tacit knowledge. Got it? That's the idea of science, by the way. All right. So this is now a more general introduction that will then lead us to Plato. There are at least four challenges of life we have to face, any one of us. And these challenges are to be faced by using four human resources: logic, love, friendship, and justice. Okay? So, whereas whereby justice includes mutual respect, certain kind of solidarity. I will come to this later. All right. The first problem or challenge of life you have to face is the either good or bad use of resources. So any resource, such as financial means, time, mental capacities, physical strength, wealth, fame, beauty, and everything, any resource, be it material or mental, can be used in a good or bad way so that it contributes to your good life, to your happiness, to the life that you want to lead, or it does not. You see? You can, there are some very easy examples, simple, easy to understand. You can use a knife in order to cut an apple and to prepare a meal. You can use a knife hurting or even killing someone. So the knife itself is neither good or bad, but what you do is either good or bad. Logically so. See, it's an excluded third option. You can use a car in order to run for your boyfriend or girlfriend. You can use a car in order to hurt a pedestrian because of being careless and not looking at what's around, you see? You can use your money in order to help other people. You can use your money in order to ruin your competitors or colleagues. Okay? You can use your mind in order to teach and to tell the truth. You can use your mind in order to manipulate others, like many do. Okay. That applies to everything, you see? And it's an interesting thing that you just have to realize in your life and notice all you do, all what we do in any second of life is good or bad for us and for others, you see? So actually we should be very attentive, pay attention to our way of living. That requires a certain kind of caring, you see? And knowing, that brings us to the second challenge. In order to perform good actions, to make a good use of resources, you have to know how to do this, you see? By the way, these 4 challenges are the inspiring points of the whole ancient philosophy. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Stoa, you see? So in some sense, this is an introduction to the whole Socratic philosophy, not only to the symposium. Sorry. Ladna. So decisions, yeah. We have to know how to make good or bad use of certain resources. And we have to make decisions. But here comes the problem, the second challenge. In many, many, many cases, we are in a situation to make a decision without having sufficient knowledge. You see? So should I say study law, or should I study medicine? Should I marry this woman or not? Might be an important question after all. Should I help a friend? Should I trust someone, for instance, or shouldn't I? Should I take this or that job opportunity, or shouldn't I? You see, I'm very often we are faced with the very sad comment to say, I just don't know. You see, I don't know. But I have to make a decision. That's actually life. See, what is life? What life is all about is the disaster, sometimes, the challenge, to be forced to make a decision without having sufficient knowledge. You see? You just can't think for very long about certain options because they might be gone, right? Sometimes you have to be real quick. In case of love, for instance. Believe me, I'm an old man. You know, love doesn't dare waiting, and doesn't dare hesitation. It calls for a deep, deep, quick decision. A job, for instance, you can't just wait until you really know what you will do as a lawyer before studying the subject, right? You just don't know whether you will like it or not. And it will take you 5 years, you see, at least, to make until you will pass the exam. So you just don't know whether it's good or bad to do that, but you just have to make a decision. Because you just have to enroll in university at some point in time, okay? So we have to gain as much knowledge as possible, as good as it gets, in order to make a good decision. And that's why in the dialogue which is called Laches, Plato says, Socrates says, well, so his interlocutors are thinking about how to raise children and how to raise young men. Should they be trained in sports? Should they learn more about science? And what's the proper way to educate children? And they got different advices from those who they'd been asking, to generals asking to, say, elder statesmen who gave opposing advices. And so they ask, the one says this, the other says the opposite, so what to do? They didn't get the advice they were looking for, so they asked Socrates for casting the final vote, the final decision. And he says, no, we shouldn't make decisions. We should not base our decisions on a majority of opinions, voices, even though that might be democratic. But it is by knowledge one has to make decisions, not by majority rule, if one is to make them well. And this is, in a way, one of the main messages of all the dialogues. And it's an answer to the problem number 2. Now, even if you think, if you think you've got enough knowledge, sufficient knowledge, in order to make a good decision, here then comes the third problem, the third challenge. There are many, many, many sources of error and deception. You can be wrong about almost everything. You can be wrong about whether or not you should, say, do this or that job, whether or not you can trust this or this person, whether or not you should live your life in Tbilisi or Manhattan. See, it's sometimes you just you think you might know something, but you then overlook sources of error you could be aware of. Okay, so again, you see, it all comes down to caring. Yeah, that's the main message of mine. You have to care for your thinking and for your decision making. You have to care, to be attentive and to be accurate and precise. This is the attitude of caring. And caring is not easy. That's why we often neglect caring. Caring needs energy, attention. See? Especially caring for others, which is the most beautiful thing you can do in the world, by the way, to care for others. Then you really have to be attentive and decisive. Well, and even if you master the first 3 challenges, then you're faced with the 4th one, acting against better judgment or weakness of will, akrasia in Greek. Sometimes we just know what would be a good use of resources, what would be a good action, what should I do? And you made your decision with sufficient knowledge, and you have overcome sources of error and deception on your way. You know what to do, but you just don't do. So why? You see? Yeah, this is the mystery. Like see, Medea in Euripides' tragedy kills her children, even though she did not want to. So then, acting against better judgment is very human, and it needs a certain strength, a certain kind of, say, courage, right? In order to carry your will, your decision through the ocean of weakness of will, to the harbor to execute what you want to do. And all these four challenges of life form the puzzle of life that requires caring. And the third kind of caring is love. All right. Let me skip this. Okay. We're close to the symposium. Well, let me start with the apology. So some words about the apology. So Socrates, Plato's protagonist and the hero of Plato's dialogues, discusses questions of life, the way of living, with his interlocutors, in order to let them have the knowledge and the courage and the attitude of caring. Epimeleia is the Greek term, epimeleia, in order to face the challenges of life. You see, that's what he's up to: knowledge, episteme, and caring. Now, the puzzling thing is that Socrates himself does not claim much, does not claim many theses on his own, by himself. He doesn't write thick books about this and that, but he mainly asks questions, and he doesn't have an answer to this question. So you see, this is very puzzling, actually, if you read a Platonic dialogue, and that drives many people crazy, many students, because Socrates permanently asks questions, and he says that this is a very important thing to know, but I don't know. See, you, my interlocutor, dear interlocutor, you should know, you should have an answer, I don't have it. So what that? So how can he then ask me questions, and how can he act as a philosopher, as a teacher, without having the answers that I should have? This is, yeah, in a way, yeah, it's a very puzzling thing. And the Socratic way of doing philosophy is just the answer to this puzzle. As a Socratic philosopher whose name is Mick Jagger would say, what's puzzling you is just the nature of the game. The nature of the game means to care for your own for your own minds and for your own way of properly thinking and having a certain kind of intellectual courage, so that you can answer the questions by yourself, okay? So Socrates appeals to autonomy. That's why he doesn't say much, but some things he says. So he does claim some theses, and one is one of those theses he claims is that caring and love are necessary conditions for living a good, successful, happy life. Okay, and one part of caring is to have a certain mental attitude he calls human knowledge. In the Apology, he says, I, Socrates, have what I call human wisdom, human knowledge, and anyone should have it. And this human knowledge is, above all, a certain kind of second-order knowledge. That means a knowledge about your own beliefs, about your own knowledge claims, right? So second-order knowledge is to know whether or not I do have good reasons for a certain belief or not. See? If I know that I don't know what I think to know, and if I know that I don't know what I seem to know, see? Then I know that I have to know what I don't know yet. See? That's it. So if you do know that you don't know, you know a lot. And that's even more important than to know some matters of facts. Because that kind of knowledge you won't find neither in the Encyclopedia Britannica, which is down there on the shelf, nor anywhere else, but only in your own mind. See? Second order knowledge. And second order knowledge prevents you from a terrible evil that can be overlooked in life. Negligent ignorance. As a lawyer, in a way, in my second life, I put it this way. It's a term taken from criminal law. Negligent means not by intention, but done by not having given sufficient attention, not having cared. See? If I drive car with having too much alcohol, I might not want to hurt someone, but if I do, it's because of negligent ignorance. I could have known that I can't drive car properly under these conditions. See? So, negligent ignorance is the result of a lack of second-order knowledge. See? If you don't know a certain thing, if you don't really know what to do, but you still do, you put others in danger, right? You compromise their welfare. If a physician is not, if a doctor, a physician, is not really sure that you suffer from this or that disease, you see? But he still gives you certain advice and undertakes a certain treatment, then he acts with negligent ignorance. See, you might have fever, 39 degree. You don't know the reason, and the physician thinks, oh, it's because of you got a cold. That's all. Just take aspirin and go to bed for 3 days and everything is fine. But it might be an infection, a virus, something. So if he does not check your blood, for instance, and gains the medical knowledge that he could gain with giving attention, if he doesn't do, but still believes in his diagnosis, he acts with negligent ignorance. That's why experts need to know what they know and don't know. Particular experts, so second order knowledge is particularly important for experts, because experts know what we, the laypersons, don't know, so we depend on them, you see? And if we trust them, we can only do that if we believe that they care for their way of thinking, so that they know what they know and don't act without sufficient knowledge. Well then, and this human knowledge, the second order knowledge that you need in order to face the challenges of life, is to be gained by seeking knowledge, by a certain way of seeking, searching, examining, and that Diotima, a female priest in Plato's Symposium, compares with the nature of love, eros. And that brings us to the Symposium. Now, here is the quotation. Given the limits of time, I won't work with too many quotations. But this is one of the most important things. Diotima puts love, eros, and eros in Greek philosophy and literature has very broad meaning. It is a god, it is a cosmic power, and is also a human power, a human strength and capacity. But it doesn't, it encompasses all kinds of paying attention and caring for a person that promotes the beloved person's welfare. So love is not only physically thing, it's not only a sexual thing, it's not only even thinking about being married or being living together. Love is a particular way of caring for the one and only person you love. Okay? So there's the particular thing is with Socrates, the Socratic conception, the general way of caring, okay? Caring for your life and for the life of others, the general way of caring includes the particular attitude of friendship, philia, and love. So friendship means to care for the welfare of many people, the one with whom you share, okay? With whom you share certain experiences. This is what a friend is, okay? Friends are those with whom you share trust and respect and certain interests. Okay, and the third way of caring is a very, very particular caring, which is called love, is unique insofar as love refers to one person, only one. See, the one you love. And this is, in a way, something that philosophy and friendship and love have in common. All these three ways of caring are ways of searching and an enduring endeavor. Okay, so that's the thing. It's an enduring motivation to look for what is good for another person and to overcome negligent ignorance and to overcome failure and weakness of will. See? So that friendship, so science, friendship, and love are the three forces that enable you to overcome making bad decisions that you could avoid and to overcome your weakness of will, laziness, acting against very judgment. See? Yes, and in the Symposion, Diotima now compares this power with the love of gods, saying, none of the gods love wisdom, wants to become wise, because they are wise. Gods are supposed to have the wisdom that humans can never have, which is, by the way, right? And no one else who loves wisdom. On the other hand, no one who is ignorant. You see? Meaning having the attitude of negligent ignorance. That means to just to trust in mere beliefs instead of looking for a second-order knowledge. You see? For what makes ignorance so damaging is that the ignorant is content with himself, even though one might not be an admirable or wise person. So if you don't think you need anything, you won't want what you don't think you need. Right? Full stop. End of quote. Love is a certain kind of need, a desire, right? Philosophy and science in general is the awareness, you see, a certain kind of awareness. Awareness that you need something you lack. You need something that you don't have, but you want to. Well, and from this follows, logically so, if you know what you need, and if you know that you don't have what you need, you will try to get it, right? But you have to know what you need. Such as the Spice Girls will put it, if you really, really want, what you really, really want is what you need, see? So you have to think even carefully about what you really need and what you lack. Yeah? Even though it seems to be obvious, but it's not even, not just an emotion, see? It's not just a feeling. It's a certain kind of knowledge that you gain by caring for what you need and what you don't have. And if you know what you need, you will try to get it. And that requires, again, strength and an enduring motivation, courage. And if you care for love, science, and respect, you can overcome the egocentric attitudes that you and all of us have. Right? Oh, I have to come to the end. And now the whole symposium, this beautiful dialogue, we could go through in detail in a seminar. Right? I had to go through the dialogue in a way, as we say, in a rush. Explains in detail why there are two different main attitudes of people and why love, besides friendship and science, is, let's say, the remedy, is the way to overcome an inhuman danger, namely egocentric attitudes. All right? And this is, by the way, so some closing remarks about literature. This is, by the way, I'm sorry that I don't have the English version of the Faust available here in print version, and we don't have much time, but I wanted to tell you something about the Master and Margarita, Romeo and Juliet, and Goethe's Faust. But we might do this later. So some closing remarks. If you will have the opportunity to look at Goethe's Faust, this wonderful piece of German literature, you will see that there are two protagonists that display, right, and manifest and show in detail in her thinking, acting, and wanting the different kinds of desire. You see? Namely, Faust, the protagonist, is an egocentric lover. Right? His desire is egocentric. That means he does not love Margaret, the female protagonist, for her own sake, but primarily for his own desire. Okay? So the egocentric person mainly does something for others. He acts in the interests of others. He gives her gold and time, and he promises a life with her. See? So he does something for her, for the beloved, but not for herself, not for her on its own sake, but only because he wants to satisfy his own interests and he wants to get advantage of the love. See? So the egocentric lover is very dangerous, like Othello in Shakespeare's wonderful The Merchant of Venice. He is egocentric in the way that he's even such jealous that he kills the one he loves because of this. That's all he got. See, that's all he has seen. This wonderful tissue with a name that's not from her. And he thinks, that must be a lover. And in a rush of demonic jealousy, he kills the woman he seems to love because of this. Imagine. That's acting against spirit judgment, and that's acting without sufficient knowledge. One of the most terrible, egocentric, destructive attitudes you could ever mention is jealousy. We tend to think that jealousy is good. Men mostly think so. That's self-deception. It's not. We tend to think that jealousy only expresses your love. It does not. Never. So if I can give you an advice, if you are ever faced with jealousy, run away. The first cut is the deepest, as they say, right? as soon as you respond to jealousy, justifying yourself and saying, no, 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 I don't pay attention to this or that other. It's not only jealousy between a couple. You see, there is jealousy between colleagues, for instance. It's many, many ways of jealousy, even between friends or students, right? So if you respond to it, if trying to justify yourself, you have already lost the game. Don't do. Just ignore it. To hell. You see? It's not easy. But egocentric, the egocentric way of loving, in a way, is most powerful displayed in Faust, in this male character. And then, at the end, by contrast, Margareta, the female character, is the true lover. See, she loves in the Socratic way, right? Because her love is unselfish. See? True love, displayed by Margareta and Bulgakov's Margarita, is unselfish in the way that it expects, now listen carefully, expects a lot but demands nothing. See? The true loving attitude is an attitude that, through which you do something for another person for her or his own sake. Okay? You do something good, you care for someone, even if you don't get love in response. See, this is the beauty of love. Even if you earn hate, even then. So you give everything you can, and you don't get, and you don't want to get. See, you don't want to get anything back. That's the idea of love. Whereas and that's why love is the only attitude through which you can overcome your egocentric attitudes. See, when we all have it, okay? We cannot be free from it. We do have greed, jealousy, ignorance, lack of compassion sometimes. So we can feel it, we can have the emotion, but we should not act on it. That's the difference. See, you might think, oh, I wish I had this beautiful car or house of my neighbor, and I would like to steal it, as long as I'm not seen, you see? And with an egocentric attitude, you do, actually. And your friendship and your general loving attitude lets you overcome, see, the egocentric desires you have. So the message of Plato's Symposion is you should care for words, ideas, and arguments. So you should care for science just the way you care for yourself and you care for people. And it's even true. You can tell from the way someone uses words and arguments and ideas, you can tell from this how he behaves towards people. He does. So the more you care for your thinking and for science, the more you care for friendship and love and compassion. That's the message of Plato's Symposion. And the particular message about love of Goethe's Faust is you have to overcome your egocentric desires in order to protect the one you love. You see? And the end of the whole story of the tragedy, Margareta had been sentenced to death because it seemed that she had killed her child. And Faust, the lover, with a little help of my friend Mephistopheles, I love Mephistopheles, by the way, good friend of mine, he tries to help her, to get her out, but she does not want to escape. And so he says even to Mephistopheles, rescue her. Rescue her. He doesn't succeed. And so the last thing Goethe, the author, shows us is Faust had become aware of his failure. He just didn't care for her all the time. Just didn't pay attention. He could have rescued her, but he didn't, because he saw the Walpurgis Night, another woman, and things like this, right? So, and finally, this is in a way the moment of despair, the tragical one. He becomes aware that he should have overcome his egocentric wishes and desires, but it's too late. See? He can't reach her anymore, whereas her love always and ever was purely caring. It never was egocentric. This is why she sacrificed her life, even this. Okay, to sum up, what philosophy and literature can teach us, among other things, is that love is one of the strongest human forces and necessary for living a good life, because through love we can overcome the danger of egocentrism and thereby facing the 4 challenges of life that I mentioned in the beginning. Yes, and love doesn't dare a lack of caring, right? Love requires caring, enduring caring for a lifetime. In other words, all we need is love. Thank you for your attention. All right, finished, done. Thank you. Love is all we need. Well then, any questions? So I have to use this one, okay? Nope. You could ask questions in English. Do you have a question?
Can we speak in this dialogue about outlines of Platonic dialectic, Logos and Episteme? Is it a aim of this dialogue? Second, the main subject of Parmenides' principle.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it out of context and it's a margin of Platonic?
What?
I mean, the dialogue of because is out of Platonic context, or is it the love of hands, the love of one of these main subjects? What is the main subject of Eros?
Very simple. Epimenia. Epimenia, caring, and as a mean for eudaimonia. That's a good life. So caring is a way of searching for knowledge, and this is what they all do go to contact. That's the idea of dialectics. Beneath it has a formal logical structure that you can. Well, I've written 500 pages on it, so it's too much for a short answer. And it also based by an ontology you will find laid out in later dialogues, such as Phaedo, Slios, Philebus. And what you have in mind, I think, is the final idea of the one finding the Parmenides, right? Okay? Short answer, the idea of the one as opposed to Apeiron, the sector, is the of love between humans. It's not enough from the tragic perspective. The meaning of love is much broader. It even covers certain kinds of scientific entities. That's the beauty of that.
Is it ever philosophical principle?
Yes. Yeah, and we would put it caring. Of course. Yes. Of course.
Can I ask?
Yes, yes, yes.
You mentioned love in a different way and a friendship in a different way. And I'm the kind of person who don't believe in love, but I believe in friendship.
I didn't get it. Okay.
Oh, you didn't get what I said. Yeah, you mentioned friendship in a different way and a love in a different way. And I'm a kind of person who don't believe in love, but I believe in friendship. Like, I cannot love just one person more than anyone else in this world. So I'm kind of interested. Yeah, I think I'm for sure about it. I think a lot about it. Yeah. So I'm interested. Why did you do that? Like, why did you say friendship in a different way and a love in a different way?
Because of you. Because of you as a representative of those, we think that there is not a big difference between friendship and love, in my opinion. And I would say there is. Well, just consider this as a thought experience. You can have many friends. But you all know.
Yeah, I love all of my friends. Like my besties, they're my life.
Okay.
And I cannot live without
And
them.
would you then, I would say, and would you share, if you imagine that there is one you love, would you share him or her with others?
I mean, like just one I love. Like I love my friends and like I hate seeing them with others.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm getting
that's
jealous.
bad.
Yeah, I know.
I would love to have such friends.
Really?
Yeah, really, sorry.
Because I just think that they're only my friends.
Okay, good. So if you put it this way, then you don't make a difference. Love in your friends and others. That's right. Okay, the platonic is just that you can love one the way that you would here's the story. Aristotle said, in previous lives, we had two persons in one, right? But then people became developed a certain kind of hierarchy, from like God and Zeus, Godfather, into two pieces. And from that moment on, the one is looking for the other half. So, well, the message of this Aristotle's lesson is longing desire. Means you look for the one that, in a way, makes you want. Okay? The other half of your life. And melting together with this other half, you become the person you want to be. So we are conscious. And love is looking for the one. Love that makes you a person. That's good. And this is what can only be one. You can love only one person in a way that you would say, this is the one with whom I share everything. But for whom I would do everything. And makes me the person I am. This is what friends talk about. But I agree, if you have such a great heart, origin is not sufficient. Yes. Now we do it this way. You see, usually I talk with my students in Berlin and Oxford all the time. And you can match that. Yes, so then, yes.
If we know from history of philosophy,
Yes.
Socrates did not give us a complete explain of love. Because of that, love has different kinds form in Symposium, by Symposium in Platon, and this main form is agape. About that you did not say us.
No.
And it will be interesting how you think about divine love, agape. Yes.
That's what you are interested in the history of the divine.
Yes.
Yeah. Ask Augustinus, for instance, and Thomas Aquinas, Aquinas. Okay. Very easy. Shortcuts. Yeah.
You can talk with microphone.
Ah.
She can translate.
Oh, this is why you told me to. Sorry. Yeah. I didn't think about it because. No, I'm sorry.
Because part of it.
It's a lack of caring because usually I don't.
You either have to finish this or
Yeah.
either because the part of the audience just don't.
Yeah.
No, that one.
I'm sorry. You see, I usually don't use microphone. That's why I just didn't think about it. I am sorry. That was a lack of caring, actually. So I didn't. I'm sorry for the lack of caring. Yes, I didn't realize that I talk in private in English, and so if I answer the questions in English without using the microphone, they can't be translated. That's true. Well, the wonderful person was asking for the divine kind of love. Okay, very simple, brief answer. There are altogether 6 speeches in the symposium. Diotimas is the last one. Socrates himself says, it is line 202 D to E, if you want to read it. This is what I, Socrates, have learned from Diotima. In other words, Diotima's conception of love as caring for the thing you lack and need, and the search for knowledge, is precisely what Socrates does himself. Dialectics, pretty clear in the dialogue. Then the previous 5 speakers, like Pausanias, Agathon, and Eryximachos, and Pausanias, they talk about the divine love. And here is the important thing. Brief. As if I had known the question. Divine foreseeing. All the speakers in the symposium who praise love agree that there are 2 kinds of love, the divine and the human. But, say, the attitude of caring, right? The attitude of caring, eros, holds for both kinds, right? Here's one quotation. even in the crafts and in the sciences, okay? You see, there is a divine love, and let's say, divine love is the opposite of egocentric, see? Okay, so divine love is caring, egocentric is the evil, okay? And Socrates thinks, he asked, well, is any kind of human love non-divine? And they say, here's the very refined and sublime conception. The caring attitude is to be found in both the divine, not in any kind of human practice. So the caring love is to partake in the divine, is the divine way of human life. See? Okay? Let's see this. Quotation, in music, therefore, as well as in medicine and in all other domains, in matters divine as well as in human affairs, see, we must attend with the greatest possible care to these two species, two kinds of love. See, two kinds of love, which are indeed to be found everywhere. Okay? So the caring attitude of humans is, in a way, the way we come close to the divine, even though the divine is divine, not human. Okay, that's the idea. Yeah, and that has been taken up later philosophy, of course, Stoa and Middle Ages. Yes, please. It has to be translated. You are here. Could you do me a favor, dear friend? He speaks Georgian, right? Okay, right? Okay, then try. Could you listen to it and translate?
But there are other more better translators. But okay,
yeah, but previous ones are, previous questions were in English and the translator did. Okay. But this is the first in Georgian. Yeah. Or any other could. You could, you do?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Interesting questions.
He also asked some questions connected with the Marcel Proust in search of the lost time.
À la recherche de la tombe perdue.
I can speak French.
Proustis რომანების მიხედვით
Wonderful.
სიყვარულის მდგომარეობა საფრთხად არის დაკავშირებული სინამდვილის მდგომარეობასთან. ანუ სვანის მხარეში სვანი ამბობს რომანის ბოლოს ასეთ სიტყვებს, რომ მთელი ახალგაზრდობა შევალია ქალს, რომელიც სინამდვილეში არც კი მომწონდაო. თუმცა გამომდინარეობს ამ ფრაზედან ის, რომ სიყვარულის მდგომარეობას ახასიათებს გარკვეული ილუზორულობა. ანუ ადამიანს გონია რომ გიყვარს, მაშინ როცა სინამდვილეში არ გიყვარს. რამდენად ფიქრობთ, რომ სინამდვილის პრობლემა, რომელიც ფილოსოფიური პრობლემაა, ძაფად არის დაკავშირებული სიყვარულის მდგომარეობასთან. და თუ ეს ასია, მაშინ გამოდის, რომ სიყვარული ყოველთვის რაღაც სხვა, იმდენად რამდენადაც ნამდვილი მდგომარეობა ადამიანის ყოველთვის რაღაც სხვა. ეს არის პირველი შემთხვევა. მეორე შემთხვევა.
The first question is that, as Swan says at the end somewhere of the novel, that he has loved the woman whom he has actually not loved. Does it mean that love can often be connected with illusions? And if it's illusions and if it's not real, then maybe we should distinguish love from real? And does it mean that it's something different and always kind of deceptive or misleading, or real life is something else and love is something else,
yes,
or
yes.
it can be somehow?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the question as well as for the translation. Well, if you remember what I said in the beginning, look, you see, the third problem and challenge of life is also to be found in human affairs like sorry, friendship and love. You can be wrong, of course. You can, so Swann was not wrong about his love. He was pretty sure that he loved this particular woman, the one and only. But he was wrong about his own way of caring, right? He was wrong in his action. He did not care for her the way he could have done. And he might have thought that he did not really love her. Okay, as I said, you can be wrong about almost everything, even about your own feelings. That's why you have to be careful. See, it's the logic behind. Caring is the way to overcome the challenge of error and self-deception. If you care for what you know or don't know, if you really know what you know or don't know, then you overcome deception by way of caring and science. See? However, as Marcel Proust would put it in À la recherche de la temps perdu, the awareness of true love is not just a feeling, but it is a certainty. See how he put it? It is a certainty that lets you know and definitely know that you love the one. You will know it. If you are in love, you will know it. If there is one thing you know in life besides of mathematics and logics, that's why I like it, mathematics and logics. It is so clear. See, it is pretty clear, no deception possible, just as love. So I think Swann's love was ambivalent, okay? Just as Faust. So the key word here is, in psychological terms, ambivalence. Look, Faust. Margareta once had these flowers that have her name, Margaritas, see, in German. He loves me, he doesn't. See, he loves me, he doesn't. He loves me, he doesn't. He loves me, he doesn't. And then he comes and he loves you. That's the truth. Cut. You see, ambivalence is one of the dangers of love and caring. Because love does not allow ambivalence. Okay? That's what you have to know. But many of us are ambivalent. Insofar as we don't do for the one we love what we could. Right? So he was ambivalent. And yeah, including Socrates, right. Including Socrates. He was not a hero, he was just human. As the pop song put it, we're humans after all. Right? We're humans after all. And so this is what all we can do is overcoming ambivalence by caring. You see, if you agree. And Swann shows that it was a deception in terms of ambivalence. It wasn't a true love, but there is true love. Look at The Master and Margarita, the chapter that's called Margarita. It starts like this. Who said that there is no true love on earth? I show it. See? And then Margarita comes into play. And look at the end of Bulgakov's wonderful novel. He says it's near Moscow, right? It's Sparrows Mountains, it's called, close to Moscow. He says, so the master, right, waiting for Margarita, he was searching for the very last sentence of his book that would finish the book, right? And this is the last sentence, and he found it when he remembered his love to Margarita, and he shouted out on a rooftop. Right, baby, I'm ready to go. So he shouted out, not on the rooftop, but at the top of the mountains. Where's that? In English, you are free. He is waiting for you. See, that means he is waiting for you for a lifetime. Wherever you are, whatever you do, he's waiting for you. You see? So this is the non-ambivalence. So, in a nutshell, Swan shows that there are, I agree, there are self-deceptions. And there is ambivalence in love, even there, because we're human. But through caring, we can overcome egocentrism and ambivalence and deceptions, because love, just as logic, that's why these are the two powers. Love and just as logic has a unique certainty. If you really love, you know it. Full stop. If this answers your question. Okay? Da? Come on. Hoda, meaning so on. And so, right? Hoda.
თეატრში მსახიობად დაინახავს. რახის. მაგრამ მისი მეგობარი მარსელი იგივე საროსკიკოში დაინახავს. ამიტომაც მარსელი სრულიად სხვაგვარად ფიქრობს. რახის ვიდრე რობერტ სენ-ლუ. აი ამ მდგომარეობაში, მიუხედავად იმისა, რომ მარსელმა იცის სინამდვილე, არ ეუბნება მის მეგობარს. აი ამ სინამდვილე მდგომარეობას. იმიტომ რომ მარსელი ფიქრობს, რომ სიყვარულის მდგომარეობაში გარეგანი ცოტა არ შედის. და თქვენ იზიარებთ თუ არა აი ამ იდეას, ფუსტის იდეას, რომ სიყვარული არის ისეთი მდგომარეობა, როცა ადამიანი რაღაც აზრი ოიდიპოსის სიტუაციაში ვარდება და არავითარი აზრი არ აქვს, რაიმე ცოდნა ჩაუნერგო მას გარედან. და მხოლოდ თავის შინაგანი მდგომარეობით უნდა იგრუმწვანებს. და მეორე შეკითხვა კიდევ.
Okay, so another question is that if you agree with the idea that love is closely connected to intuition, to sight, and he just mentioned an episode from Marcel Proust, another Sodom and Gomorrah, when Robert Song sees a woman on stage and falls in love, but his friend Marcel knows the true identity of the woman, but does not tell him. He sees her as an actress, he does not see her. Yes, he falls in love with her from the very scene he saw her on stage, and the friend Marcel does not say the truth about the woman, though he knows, because he thinks that while in love, this information or knowledge is not important or necessary, and if you agree with this kind of view, something like that.
So, ask him back, does he think... Before I answer that, does he think that some kind of true information, such as recognizing the one as an actor or as a whole, is not necessary?
Does he think it's so?
Yeah.
ამ ფაქტიდან გამომდინარე, ეს ფაქტი იმიტომ ახსენდება, რომ უფრო საინტერესო საკითხზე გადავსვენყავი, ანუ შეიძლება თუ არა დავადგინოთ რა გვიყვარს ადამიანს, როცა გვიყვარს. ანუ ხომარ გვიყვარს თეატრის ამაღლებულობა და არა თავისთავად დის. იმიტომ რომ ფუსტი ამბობს, რომ ჩვენ ახალი იგივე ხარ, სადაც გვიყვარს, უყარდება თუ არა.
influence. Influence is our ideas, love, whatever, and which is more important. So the true objective information, what we feel, what we see. Yes. What we see, what we feel.
Now I got it. Yeah, it was a deep question underneath.
Yes, underneath. Yes,
Yes.
covered underneath.
That. All right. If I understood you correctly, your question goes to. It concerns what would be, or actually is, more important in life, say, or what is the importance and the relevance of an attitude like love and somehow getting objective truth. I think so, right? Okay, so first of all, how do we see each other? Well, mainly we overlook each other permanently. Unfortunately so, we don't see much in other persons. Blinded by egocentrism. Okay? Blinded by the light. Like Jesus in the New Testament puts it, why do you see the minor thing in the eyes of others? Drawbacks, stain, something wrong. See? But not the mountain of evil in your own mind. Yeah? Jesus was Socratic, actually. That would be a nice topic for an article, yes, to compare. Okay, now, so, first of all, my suggestion, right? I don't know it, it's just a suggestion. Human beings are very rich, complex things, actually. And in a way, to see what a person is a lifetime's mission, right? It's an infinite story, yeah. Because if you care for someone, right? If you're interested in, just even without love, for instance, just like me, as I am interested in talented students, I look at them and listen at them, right? And the more I'm interested, the more I see. See? So my interest, my caring attitude guides my attention. Okay, see? And lets me see more and more and more. Yeah? That's an endless story. Okay? So people are very complex, and if we have a caring attitude, we can see how people really are. Okay? So, first of all, I do love logic and science. Wholeheartedly, as we put it in English, wholeheartedly, without restriction. And so I do believe in truth, very much so. I do think that we have to care for objective truth as much as we can, because that makes us able to overcome the problem of the either good or bad use of resources. Okay, objective truth, information about the world is, of course, very important. That's why we're here. A university actually is dedicated to searching for the truth. It's its mission, right? Now, let's talk about love again. I don't think that there is a certain kind of objective truth about the person you love, you see? That's why it doesn't matter whether, if you love someone, it doesn't matter what he or she does or is. All right? And here's an important thing, what I think about love. So first of all, I don't think that these two things, looking for objective truth and looking for love, exclude each other, and neither of those is more or less important than the other one. They're both very important, but they're distinctive attitudes. Duh, right? So, agree? And now, there is a famous song. It says, I love you just the way you are. See? Love you just the way you are. Now, that means, famous song, that's right. If you love somebody, you love him or her exactly just the way she or he is. That means you accept everything she thinks and does. I would even accept the crime. If the beloved woman does it, don't care. So, that's the challenge of the Faust, by the way. You see, Margarete cannot understand that Faust loves her. Finally, in the beginning, his love was egocentric. When it turned to a caring love, that's why you will love the Faust once having read it for the first time. Okay, once he had developed a caring love, he wanted to rescue her, to get her out of prison, to live with her, right? And she, because even no matter what she has done, she might have killed her child, but it doesn't affect his love, okay? And she cannot understand that he really loves her the way she is, no matter what she has done, and that he would really rescue her from prison, even though she's done what she did. That's his love. It's, to put it this way, love is unconditional. You see, love is unconditional the way that it does not depend on any particular feature, attitude, or action or behavior of a person. So if you think you love someone, I tell you what, someone, there. If you think you love someone because she, let's say a woman or a man, she or he has this or that attitude or is like this or that, you're wrong. We think we love people because they are such and such. No, never. That's not love. That's interest. That's a difference. That's I'm interested in someone if he's a good teacher or if he is a hell driver like me or something like this. See, I'm interested, let's say, in male professors, but I couldn't love them. See? So this is why it matters what they do. If in case of love, so first of all, in case of love, it doesn't matter what the beloved person is or does. You love her or him just the way he, she is. And that's why you accept everything. Love is unconditional, and love does not need the truth. Love is what it is. See? Yeah. That's all I can say.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Do you still love illness?
Running out of schedule.
How do you think? Do you still love illness?
What? Sorry.
Do you still love illness?
Illness. Okay. History of philosophy. Listen, dear colleague. Here is a philosophical answer with Plato's Socrates. In another masterpiece of human love, it is another dialogue. It's called Phaedrus, right? You might know Phaedrus. It's pretty close to the Parmenides, by the way, in terms of time, I guess. In the Phaedrus, Socrates gives another description, appraisal actually, of love, and he actually called it mania. Mania, illness. Exactly. The maniac. See? So love is, yeah, so there's is both. So it's illness and a certain kind of lack of rationality in a very strange sense. There is a very famous song from the Irish, let me put it this way, the Irish Socratic pop band U2. It's called Love is Blindness. See? Love is blindness. Why won't you wrap the night around me? See? Love is blindness. The head has another wonderful line. It says, take the money, honey, love is blindness. Means, I don't matter even if you would steal it. You say, take it away. That doesn't matter. So love is blindness and love is illness, at the same. In a certain sense, means that it is an extraordinary state of mind. It is an extraordinary emotion. An extraordinary emotion that absorbs all your mental and emotional energy and attention. See? And that's why it is the most healthiest illness you could ever have. Yeah, so I think love is the only illness that you don't have to cure. Yeah. You don't need a doctor if you're in love. Yeah. But it's at the same time the mania, so the extraordinary attention and way of caring that keeps the beloved on your mind all the time. At the same time, improves your rational and logical abilities. Your fantasy is working much better. You see, you think what you could and should do for the one you love. You see, that's why it's such a source of energy. Yeah, thanks. Good question. No. Right.
So if you are in love,
Yes.
you said you don't need any doctor, or not any doctor can help you in this way.
I don't need it. I don't need it. And two, of course. It's like doctor, please. You know this? Scorpions.
Yes.
Doctor, please.
We thank you
Yes.
very much
Yeah.
for this interesting talk.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for your questions and your attention. Okay. Yeah, I'd love that. Thank you.
საიგები, ოქტომბრის მეორე ნახევარში ასეთი ლექციების კურს კიდე გავაგრძელებ და თუ რაიმე სურვილები არის სიამოვნებით, თქვათ, გაგვიზიარეთ და წინასწარ შევათანხმებთ გატების ასაკითხებზე გაინტერესებთ, რომ თქვათ, წაიკითხონ ლექცია და გენდერული ბალანსი რო აქ განადგურებულია, კი ვხედავ ახლა, მაგრამ სასიამოვნოდ განადგურებულია. ხო და თუ რამე შემოგთავაზებთ, გაიგეთ.
Yeah, thank you for your attention. Do you, by the way, as a colleague, if you want to read what I said, I can send the text to you. In English. Just write down your email. Yeah. Because I guess I will be more. And so I can share the
იმაზე არ მომევლო რა ხუთი შემიძლია წასვლა და ვაფშე
Yeah, it's
გამაგებდა
English.
და
Here's the ad. Make sure. What do you look for? Yeah. I'm very sorry. It takes a certain kind of love. Okay, what's the Yeah. No, I know it's the ads. Is it correct?
The first letter is something
That doesn't matter. But make sure, you see, sometimes it's like, I give you an answer. What's your name?
My name is Tam.
Sam. Nice to meet you. Thank you for your
Thank you for your time.
Then, what's your service area? English literature, English philology?
We are teachers of
You are teachers?
I'm just graduating. I'm just in the PhD.
Your PhD? Congratulations. I would never.
English philology department. Yes.
Because I will become a research professor.
Great. That's great. English philology.
Make sure this egg is always chopped. Yeah. And did you get it? If you want to have the taste, don't worry.
I will also.
Okay. Yes.
I hope I can.
Yes, so then. Thanks again. We'll see you again.
I'll see you again.
Yeah. I'm back in San Diego.
Great. That's great.
Thank you. But you, teachers too?
Yes.
Really? 3 teachers? Like Chekhov, 3 sisters, 3 teachers. Cool. So this is the whole philology stuff. Faculty.
And me too. English philology.
How many?
We were.
Yeah, so then right now. Cool. Yeah, we should have done dinner. Okay. English? You will translate?
Yes, I can translate. Yes, you can ask it. I will translate.
So we can. They could join us to gym.
but we need some
Okay, yeah, we have to have some negotiations. See you then? That was the faculty staff, so young teachers. You have
they're more motivated, more productive. Now we need to
Yeah. Discuss society. Yes. Okay. Wait a second. Again, again. I know this is tricky.
Okay.
Always. Yeah. Sorry? Yes. Yeah. Good. More. Yeah. In more detail. Okay. Yeah, I can prepare it as soon as I have the electronic resources available. You're teaching what? Literature. Okay. English. We'll see you again. Of course. With another colleague. Thank you very much. The pleasure is all mine. All mine.
Thank you.
What are you particularly interested in? Like water. Jane Austen? Water.
I'm interested in Jane Austen.
Philip Roth? The end of the 20s. Okay. Yes.
Where
I know. Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, I'll talk about this next lecture. Good. I promise you. Self-love. Self-respect.
Loving yourself. You should first love yourself.
Okay.
And then you can love others.
It is difficult, first of all. On the one hand, I think you have to love yourself in order, and that means to accept, to take you yourself the way you are, right? To accept you the way you are, so that you can love others. However, Makran. In a certain sense, love is true love is unselfish, so that you don't need to love yourself in order. No, you would even sacrifice your own person. So when it comes to a decision, when there is a when there is an antagonism, a conflict, you have to make a choice. Should I love myself, care for myself, or should I care for the beloved? Then you don't care for yourself. The true love is sacrifice. The love of another person has a higher value. Thank you.
I think.
Don't agree fully because you have to
I passed the exams next year. Just first year. I'm a student. Yes, first year. Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
I think like Freud, but not like Freud. I like to think deep. What people think is like what they see.
I know.
You don't, but people, most of them.
Yeah, I don't believe in what I see. I believe in what I have thought.
The science and the truth.
Yes, that's different. Yes. Did you like it? Yeah. Thank you. I love my parent. Was it accessible? Could you? So then you could.
just frightened us at the beginning with your kind of extra fast British English. It was absolutely
So it was.
absolutely understand.
It was simply, wasn't it? It was good. And not too fast. Only the beginning.
Absolutely okay.
Good. Wow, thank you.
So thank you again.
Unexpected compliments are the best, as they say. Yes. Yeah, so we might work together in the future. What's your name? Nino, again, yeah. Sorry, I just forgot. Even though you told me at the beginning, and it's so easy to remember because my Georgian teacher, in a way, Tbilisi, is called Nino. So it's in my mind. Thank you very much, Nikolai.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are ready to go. He was sick.
Yeah. Unconscionable feeling.
Yeah.
You can't realize what's wrong in reality.
Yes.
So I want to say that people just don't know nothing.
Yeah.
So, for example, for me, I had a painful time with this love.
Yeah.
Now too, I will go longer, so I have in the streets. We don't know when we are meeting.
So you have to meet her.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I tell you, this is really.
It says the world wants to meet.
Okay, if I tell you, really, this is an advice for life. If you are in love, don't hesitate. Go for it. On her. Wherever she is. I have to see you today. This is what you do now, right now. Yeah. Or write her an SMS. So if you call her, she might be in trouble. She might feel uncomfortable, shy, I don't know. But if she reads it, she can say yes. Meet you at midnight, smoking. Says yes. So don't hesitate. Well, is it a problem with parents or something? No. So, well, then go for it.
The parents want to educate
Romeo loves
their
the
husbands.
kids. Sorry?
Their parents want to educate their husband.
Yeah, so,
So no problem.
go.
Thanks for.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have also one.
See you later.
I have also one question
About care, you see? Don't forget caring. Don't be egocentric. Otherwise.
I have this question that, for example, I love myself in others.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you said that you having some kind of interest in professors.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that you have interest only because that you are true professor.
Yes.
And I think that when we love, what we love when we are in love.
Yes.
So I think that we love ourselves in others.
Maybe.
Because
Maybe. Sometimes you find yourself in others.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
Yes. That's true. That's true. That's true. It's else, yeah. But interest is not enough.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Love is unconditional. Interest has conditions.
Do you think that this is an anti-Faust?
Yes. Yes. It's the anti.
And the love is anti-Faust, which hospital does.
Yes. The whole story is written as an anti-cause. He says so. Exactly.
And Faust should be saved.
Yes. Yes. Margaret.
And we can say that the conclusion at the end of the house, are the same. And do you think that our world becomes in a line of Faust?
ამის გადავალებას მოიწონს შეუთავსებლად ობლიგაციურ პროცედურად
ეხადებ ესე უკანეს თქვა თავენ აუდიტორიებში ვეში
ხო ამას კიდევ
No, I would say
როგორ არის ჩვენ აუდიტორიები მიუწიწეთ აგარენოს რომელიც ხომ რაღაცა და ესენი არ ყოლეთონ ერთმანეთს
Master ინტერესია შეთავდნენ, როდესაც ეს პროცესი დაიწყება ცხრილში აღგენა ისე რომ პროგრამების გადაფარვა და ერთგარემოში დამხობა არ მოხდეს. თუმცა სანამ დაიწყებს შეწევას ეკონომიკის პროგრამას, კიდევ ერთხელ ბატონყურასთან
we should care.
ამ რაოდენობის პროგრამას მოწყადებას ხო კომპიუტერულ კლასებში თუ რაღაც ზაუბრობთ
I care for others.
ანუ რესურსულად თუ უზრუნველყოფ მოდი მე არ ამოწევ.
Otherwise I would have been surgery.
სამუცკისე თქვენი ხელმოწერა საჯარო ვიდეოსაზე დასაუბრეთ გეჭვორმა ჩვენს
Very honest.
აუ გეგეჭვოს როგორ რამაზ უნდა.
No, что? Ничего. That's not because of me. Is it a list? If you have a list of students, right? you can later give me some email addresses if you wish, because I can share my papers with them. They want to read it, especially the professors, the teachers.
Okay, I'll ask them to make this list.
If they want, only if they want. You see, I still have 4 of those. The whole faculty of English philology actually was there, and they were very interested.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, yeah. Okay, so I have to go to the restroom.
Okay, it's right here.
Yeah, and then, well, okay, it was not too bad. The translator liked it, and we had many questions. Good. Yes, I think so. Many questions. Yes.
I think we for future.
Yes. I'll be here. Like.
მე შეიძლება ვერ მოახერხო მოსვლა უბრალოდ თორემ ყოველ ასი განიხილავენ და წავიდან რატო რა ხდება? აბა განიხილა შეიძლება და აუდიტორია ვინმე მისი მოგროვება თვითონ ინფარეთადაც განიხილა ხო? ანუ ჩვენი დაორგანიზებული ხო არა? აბა თუ ვინ არა ჩვენ ვაჩვენებთ ჩვენ სიმწე და უთხრეთ არა და ახლა რა ვიცი. აბა ახლა განგომ სარიალი რომ მომიტანე, ხა შეგვიძლია რექტორს აკლა მოაწერე. ხო, ამ იმასთან, იორ ქართან, ხა შეგვიძლია სარიალი აგერ და ხელი რატო არ მოაწერეთ, მაგრამ ამას ახლა კაი მოვაწერეთ, მაგრამ ეს არის ჯერ ერთი ვიღაცამ წაიღოს, ამას რომ მოაწერეთ, ხას არა, ხოლმე მოაწერეთ, რექტორს ამას მივცეთ, ტიპი.
Okay. So,
this is the renewed, we have new agreements, printed versions, signed.
ready to sign?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
6 months to the main tasks.
Okay, yes.
And
Thank
the
you.
obligation, you agreed,
Yeah.
and so on. So then we will let's go to sign.
Okay.
So the number of your passport.
It is already, yes.
Let's check, it's better to check.
Good. What's that?
Oh,
Why is the employer...
this is the director of the
It is the director of the
Yeah.
current.
When you signed, you was you need to sign here.
Yeah,
But here.
yeah.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Still, to be precise.
Besides,
Yes.
sign for the second.
Okay. Actually, it's doctor, but it doesn't matter. I have two of them.
Okay. Now, yesterday we agreed to have lunch with this German guy.
Yes.
We can do like this, we can go directly to lunch, then we can back to see the dormitory.
Good.
And then we'll decide where to go to spend
Okay.
this couple of hours. So I will give it to my
Yes.
colleagues. Radka will
Yeah.
send them one.
This for me.
Yeah, one is for you.
So we did not have fixed terms of lectures, presence. It's negotiable.
Yeah, sure, because
Good.
we need to find exact subjects, and if we have students who can have these lectures in English.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and that's why we need some time to send water. Now I should feel it. We need to discuss with Mamuka because, as he mentioned, maybe the students from the technical university of the faculty, maybe we will have the
Joint.
Yeah, online and so on, and that's why we need to deal on the concrete subjects of the temps and so on.
Good. One seminar each term? 2,
Sorry.
1 class each term. Well, how many?
So this issue we need to discuss with Muga.
Good.
Oh, well, maybe I didn't understand.
However, yeah. And with me.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we
the
together
3 of us.
Mamuga.
Because
Yeah, sure.
I have to teach the courses. Yes.
Not me and Mamuga, but you and Mamuga, or we together with
Okay.
Mamuga.
Yes. Because it's part of his interdisciplinary club.